welcome to 90-Degree Turns, where we expand the minds, beliefs, and perspectives of the collective and awaken sleeping many. I'm your host, Trisha Margus, and today we're going to speak with Goode. So we do have some viewer questions that I would like to get into that aren't always related to the AI topic, but I thought it'd be important to kind of just dive into there and see, perhaps if you'd be interested to answer some of them. I thought it'd be interesting to have kind of different topics that we cover.
Is this from your comments?
Yeah, this is from comments and stuff for the videos. So first of all, thank you also for being on the show. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I appreciate us telling us about AI and how we can kind of progress as a species and a more positive route and not become overtaken. So thank you for that. One of the questions, we kind of covered it before, but it talks about for people who aren't really prepared for ascension, is there anything we could do to help them? I mean, you said awareness was a big deal.
I think right now, people who are not anywhere near ready for the ascension, many of them are suffering from end time madness. You know, if you don't deal with your karma, your traumas, all of that is being pushed back up into people's face right now. So I think the best thing we can do is be an example. You know, if people see you have a little bit more peace than them, or acting a little less crazy than they are, then they're going to possibly kind of look at you and try to model themselves after you, or at least find out what's different about you. Because right now, you know, everyone's, I'm included, crazy times. If you find someone that is calm, you know, through all of the craziness, you're drawn to them, and it gives you comfort, and you want to emanate that. So I think being an example is pretty much the best thing we can do right now, and also being there to educate people. You know, when we see opportunities to give them information that will expand their consciousness, we should take every opportunity.
Thank you. So you mentioned karma. Do you think karma is a side tangent? Do you think karma is something that we've created truly? Like it's like, because if there's timeline wars, right? Everything is kind of existing in the present moment.
Right.
So is karma just some kind of trap of sorts?
It could be. You know, do sociopaths, do you see them suffer karma very often? If they don't believe what they're doing is wrong, or they don't give a flip, then subconsciously they're not going to be tripping themselves up. If you're a positive person and you believe in karma, you have a conscience, and that conscience is going to, if you don't listen to your conscience and you do something wrong, then subconsciously you're going to start punishing yourself, and then karma starts kicking in. But there is something to be said about that, but it is an actual law. There is, you know, you see these sociopaths that seem to never get their comeuppance, nothing ever comes back on them. Well, eventually it does, and when it does, it's huge. So a lot of times karma is delayed, but it's never denied.
So from your understanding, is karma something that is just within this dimension, or does it layer onto others?
You know, other densities, you know, the Anshar, they are very heavily conscious of karma, their interactions with us. There's a karmic balance that they have to keep because they're trying to manicure a timeline so that their future happens. And but at the same time, they're not supposed to violate free will. They have all of these cosmic laws that they're supposed to stick to. And they're a positive race, and they work very hard to stick to those laws. Some of these native beings, they skirt the laws all the time, and it doesn't look like it'll ever catch up with them, but when it does, it does.
Thank you for that. So one of our viewers, they asked if you could expand more about the O-negative blood type. It's been theorized that it might be from off planet. Do you have any information on this?
No, I'm O-positive. Okay. No, I haven't heard anything about O-negative possibly being off planet. I haven't heard that before.
Okay. Another viewer asked about the 20 Vec program. So you're in the program. Let's say if you were to get harmed or like die in the program, does that mean that like you would actually die? Like, do you not come back? Like, how does that work?
So there was a girl that was in these programs with me, and she was killed. And if there are a lot of different times, if you die, quote unquote die, what we think of as dying, they have ways of reanimating you that are not really that peculiar when you understand the technologies. But sometimes people, a lot of the times they'll die and they're unrecoverable. Well, what happens is, let's say this girl was 17 years old. Her parents put her to bed. Okay, so they went to bed, and then in the middle of the night, she's pulled off into the 20 and back program. Well, if she dies, what they do is they either take back a body to put in place to where it looks like she died in her sleep, or she becomes a missing person. But the missing persons usually attract too much attention, so they will take the body, age regress the actual body, and then put it in the bed, and then the parents will come in the next morning, and their kid will have passed away of natural causes.
Wow, so it really is serious stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. When you say reanimate the body, would that be something of like a clone of sorts, or not?
No. For a certain amount of time, the brain maintains the information from the electromagnetic field of the consciousness, and it just slowly, like static, leaves the body. And so, depending on the type, the manner in which someone died, if there's not too much damage, they're able to reanimate, or it's kind of like they boost the signal, and then it kind of rebuilds itself, the energy, and it rebuilds itself, and the people, that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. You've mentioned before that you can see different like sphere beings that appear within your home, and you've had different instances where like lasers were pointed at you while you're at your own residence. How does your family deal with you able to see these beings and have these kind of threats?
Well, we have intruders. We have shadow beings that come in the house. My children, everyone in the house has seen them. We've all had other experiences that I don't talk publicly about. We try to make it as normal as possible, for the kids, but they definitely have experiences, and they're not always positive.
And so I believe that earlier you've mentioned that your grandfather was in certain programs and you went to the 20 and back. Do you feel that perhaps your kids could be involved in something, or down the line generations that they could
Definitely.
be different programs or assignments of sorts?
Definitely been worried about that, because they both are major starseeds that show that they have abilities that could be exploited. I think a lot, they have gone to, in the programs, they're not taking children out as what they were for decades as much, but it's definitely something I keep my eye on, and kind of makes you a helicopter parent a little bit, because you're so worried that something like that is going to happen.
Just extra cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have good reason to be cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And another viewer question we have is, do you have any current contact with any extraterrestrial beings at the moment? I mean, we've heard different experiences before, but is there anything present or any updates you'd like to give?
From time to time, the Mayans and Gonzalez do pick me up. I do need to make a correction. In one of my videos recently, I was talking about Sigmund from the Secret Space Program, and I was talking about how he was killed, and I accidentally said Gonzalez in the conversation, so a lot of people think Gonzalez is dead.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. I misspoke. No, it was Sigmund that died. Gonzalez is fine. See him every once in a while with the Mayans, and they help do work on me. There was some, damage that occurred, from being in the 20 and backs, temporal, damage done with neuropathy that they work on.
One last question that a viewer had asked was if there's any kind of technology that you're excited to see in the future, knowing the different experiences you've had. Is there anything you kind of like can't wait to happen?
Yeah, just the cures for disease. Every life form has a bioneural frequency, and when they learn how to tune into that frequency, they also learn how to do the null of it, to switch things off. So cancer, all of these different diseases, they can identify the frequency and then flip it.
Like the rice machine.
Yeah.
You can just
and it completely just turns them off. So that technology has been used in the programs for decades, and I had to watch one of my aunts pass away a little over a year ago from liver cancer, when I knew that was something that could totally be cured. So looking very forward to some of those technologies coming out.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Corey, for coming on the show.
Sure.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I hope you definitely have a wonderful time at the rest of this conference. And yeah, so thank you for coming on, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you. All right, thanks guys. So thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.